Hello. Hi. How y'all doing? Do I always say that or often? Maybe I do. I, you can't. Well, you can answer in the chat, right? So, not giving any notice, just coming out with the video. All right, I have audio confirmed. Excellent. Um, all right. Well, this is video three. Actually, bear with me a minute. I want to send a message. I want to send a message. Okay, that's done. So I did this video the other day, um, part two, Superior Court, Superior um, in every aspect of truth and fact. Now, for some reason, that video is only a couple minutes long. And I know that I talked much longer than that. And of course, I'm not scripted. So I had no notes. I just talking off the cuff, just like I am right now. And so why only a couple minute video? I bet I spoke for the better part of a half an hour. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I talked about. And then I'm probably going to have to come back with a part four and part five, to fill in the blanks, so to speak. One of the things I talked about was the complete lack of engagement in what I'm bringing forward with the Superior Court. And I'm convinced it's fear. Now, it doesn't help that I'm one of the most feared men on the planet and have been for a few years now. Not because I'm such a scary guy. It's just that nobody wants to be targeted and gang stalked for giving any support to me. So that makes me very scary from that standpoint to anybody in the cannabis business, to anybody in the truth movement, to anybody in the patriot movement, to anybody in the natural health care movement. In any area, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. It doesn't matter. And then because my technology is so industry disruptive, try and say that 10 times fast. Industry disruptive. Industry disruptive. Yes, extremely. Think about it. Private prisons, prisons, period. The judiciary, the bar, and all that's associated with that. Medical, dental, pharma. Oh my goodness, there's more. extremely, extremely disruptive. So, the, excuse me. This is why so many videos to document all of this. And now I bring you the Superior Court because that's the people's court. Um, I, I bring the evidence forward of the corruption in Kalkaska with the human trafficking, with the sheriff's department, the village police, the prosecutor's office, the court clerk, the judge, the prosecutor, um, and of course, administrative courts are ordered closed. That's obvious if you understand Executive Order 13818. And yet they just continue on with their human trafficking with the all caps name. And you try and talk to anybody about that, and you just get the deer in the headlights look. Well, if you've been following along, you know I have the evidence on the operation outside of their normal daily human trafficking with the spellbound spelling, the birth certificate, the all caps name, the fraud, the constructive fraud, the mail fraud, all that goes with this human trafficking stuff. And it's a slam dunk. But why won't the people stand? I'm awestruck because you, there's so much energy out there. And so I know it's fear. So, what makes it even more scary for you is one of the other things. There's a couple of things. Several of you are familiar with the goings on with the People's Bureau of Investigation and the Environmental Court and the quest for pure water and many of you are aware that Tim Dever, the main man for the People's Bureau of Investigation, has been in custody, I believe, since December by the FBI. And Tom is dead. And there was a lot of shit that happened with regards to activities from the Environmental Court. And what Tom brought forward sounded really good in a lot of ways. And yet all this bad stuff happened. So now here along comes Ethan bringing you the Superior Court, the People's Court, the High Court. And you should be hooting and hollering from my perspective, but you're not. And so why? Well, it's the fear. So I want to explain a few things to help you critically think, because I don't want you to believe me. I do want you to listen. What I want is for you to comprehend and own it. Comprehend it to the point that you own it. You own it in your mind. You own it in your heart. You own it in your gut. You own it in your soul. You comprehend it to the point that you know it like you know anything really well. And so you see, one of the things that Tom relied on so heavily was Public Law 92-500 and the act of Congress um, to establish jurisdiction of an environmental court that is outside of the judiciary system, a separate jurisdiction. That's what Tom relied on. And now Tom talked about an awards, and dealing with the I want to say Treasury. I may have that wrong, but I believe Treasury. Well, look, that's in the system, you see. Act of Congress in the 70s, that fraudulent corporate government that's now passed its third bankruptcy of 1999, and you're under martial law since 2001. He relied on that clown world for his court. Big mistake. And then Tim, he's got a history of grandstanding. And he grandstanded. And in the process of grandstanding, he went, as I comprehended, as I've been told, he went into the FBI building, said his piece, and then left. You might as well be saying, hey, I'm right here in your jurisdiction. Slave me. So, you see, Superior Court is the people's court. Now you get Derek Johnson explaining to you a lot of really valuable information, but one thing he's not telling you is that there's three powers. He's telling you there's two powers. You got your federal government and you got your military. He's telling you the military came first. He's explaining martial law. He's explaining continuity of government. He's explaining reconstitution and devolution. And in a recent video, he's got, I want to say, two generals retired. And one of the things they talked about is these flights. What's the big bird? The death plane. The B, is it the B2 or not the B-52, the B2? The death bird. Apparently, one of them generals confirming about 200 feet off the ground directly over a main highway in Texas the other day. And explaining that is not military, that is not training, that there's something going on, that takes a special authorization. So I didn't talk about that in part two because I hadn't heard it yet. But one thing that I did talk about was the helicopter traffic over this property. And I'm going to detail that. However, I want to stress the point that these generals are confirming that this air traffic that is below minimum flight, which is I believe is 500 feet. That takes a special high-ranking authorization. Maybe it's something that's ordered, is what I'm thinking. Very unusual. Well, I can tell you, I know flight paths for this area, and there's been a lot of air traffic that is not in the normal flight paths. I've talked about a couple of flyovers that I felt were acknowledgments. Well, between the from the 29th of July through the first week in August, 7 military helicopters over this property. 5 of them at treetop level. Now we're talking below the 200 feet, baby. Now these are some tall trees, and it's a little hilly here. It's not just flat. So depending on where you're measuring from, I'm talking treetop, just clearing the treetops. Now, 3 of them were right over the war room, and the immediate property. One went directly right up here, right up there, directly over. The other 2 were fanned out. There were 2 gunships and a smaller helicopter, and it had a red light. And I believe when I first started talking about it, I said red flashing light. And then the more I think about it, I'm not sure if it was flashing or not, but it had a bright red light, kind of, I don't know. I want to say jar shaped. Yeah, kind of like a mason jar, like a quart mason jar, except probably rounder on, and a very red, and a smaller bird. That was on the 29th. On the 30th, there was another. It was a single uh, by itself. It was a gunship, big old cannon on there, just over the trees, well below the 200 feet, well below the 500 feet. And I want to say over the court, but the boy said it came over the road. Now the court is right down there, right off the road. You pull in off the road, you're in the court property. And so now the property runs into the middle of the road. All right, there's a 66-foot easement for the road. And so I'm going to say 7 helicopters directly over this property. 5 of them treetop. 3 of them gunships. 1 of them smaller bird with a red light. And then the last was Definitely military, dark green. It had a number on the side. It might have been 15. I don't want to say because my eyes were really tired and it happened fast. I mean, they come over the trees. You can see him for a couple of seconds and he's gone over the trees again on the other side. And once they pass the trees, you can't see him because he's got no height. He's just at the treetop level, right? And this bird looked like it was for carrying supplies or carrying men. Looked like, I don't know, maybe you could fit 20 men in there. I have no idea, but that's what it looked like to me. And then I can't remember now if it was the same day but was very soon. There was two more that would have been more down towards the court. And I would say they were 500 feet or above. You could see them approaching. You didn't have to wait for them to clear the trees. So that's 7 military helicopters over this property, 3 of them gunships, one of them with that red light. I think that's got to be a high-ranking officer, I believe. I don't know. I was not in the military, and my father was, but he really wasn't part of my life, and that's a whole nother story about what the military did to him, his head. So then, let's see, we had the fly over the 29th over the war room right here. 2 gunships and a smaller helicopter. Then on the 30th, gunship over the court. Then, to even add more fear to the situation, than me being one of the most feared men on the planet and all the fuckery that happened because of the environmental court and the people that got involved with that, there's even more fear because the motherfuckers put a hit out on me. So also, it wasn't really the 30th, it's the 31st because it was after midnight. The 31st was the day of the hearings. About 12:50 until the sun came up. And there was at least 2 of them here. Maybe there was more. Now, they can't come get me with lights and sirens. Guilty as fuck. They can't get out of it. So they put a hit out on me. And the security got to them before they got to us. So those videos have not been compromised by YouTube. So you've got all this fear. Look, people, I don't know how, but you need to grow up. You can't stand. You're going to live on your knees. You're going to live in fear. We're all going to die. And nobody knows when. What are you going to do? Now, if you do your research, it shouldn't take you too long to figure out that the district court, the circuit court, and the federal courts that have that flag with the tassels and the gold fringe. Those are administrative courts. That's a maritime flag. That's Admiralty law, law of the sea, being used by road pirates and British agents to enslave you. All in a fraud that is so, it got so much construction to it. So many different identifiers for you, accounts, things that you don't know. Now, I one of the other things I talked about is that when I say I'm federal prosecutor, I'm serious as a heart attack. And no, Josh Eddy, no, that doesn't subject me to the McDonald's United States Corporation jurisdiction, you moron. Good God. After all I've done and all I've taught you, and that's one of your responses? No, I am severed from that. We're in reconstitution. Reconstitution, martial law. And I know who I am and I own my authority. And through the use of postal mechanisms and judiciary proceedings, I have facilitated many court proceedings, many cases, and many of them as one of the people. That's the highest authority. So that's what one of the things Derek Johnson doesn't tell you. He tells you there's two powers. He tells you there's the federal power and the military power. Well, wait. He's forgetting the people. Ain't nothing happened without the people. People came first. Then the military. Then the government. All right. Your rights are not constitutional. They were once constitutionally protected. Now you're in reconstitution, and your rights are unalienable, indefeasible, cannot be abridged, and anything that's repugnant to ever be put into any type of law, that it must be abrogated. Pure and simple. All right, you got a Title IV flag. That's what you're going to hang in your superior court. Maybe when the war is over, superior court has a peacetime flag. Maybe it has a peacetime flag and a war flag. I don't know. The people will figure. I can't be bothered with details like that right now. We need to end this human trafficking. We need to unenslave you. We need to empower you. We need to get you up off your knees, get you motivated to take action. Put on a white shirt, wear white shirts. That sends a signal. Now, I verified that it was my time at the sheriff's office over 2 years ago that caused the mass exodus. And so the people at the top, they're very nervous. They don't want me talking to their employees. And in order to just flip this, all we need to do is just educate the staff at the village police and the staff at the Kalkaska County Sheriff's Department that their bosses are human traffickers. And that if you continue supporting them by coming in and doing their orders and getting paid for it, you're complicit. Now, if you try and explain to them that their everyday job is human trafficking, you'll get that deer in the headlight look. So it's just very easy to just prove that their boss is, and that if they continue, that they need to arrest their boss. Right? So that would be good. Then we can educate them that they've been human traffickers. But it's just that simple. It's a slam dunk. So once the sheriff's department shut down, once the village police is shut down, then committees of safety form. Then committees of safety can capture these parasites and bring them in. And we'll take it from there. Well, I got 2 thumbs up and nobody here. This video is now 30 minutes. I don't know what YouTube's going to do. If YouTube clips this video, I'll come back and give this basic talk again, but I will, I'll pre-record it and then upload it. So that way, if it gets taken down, I can just put it back up again. So, think about what you folks missed and how we could have already flipped Kalkaska. You're missing a lot. Oh, another thing I talked about is the court here. See, you haven't had a court. I mean, you have, but you had to have some brains, and none of the gurus will tell you. All the gurus got you filing shit into the system, enslaving you. Don't file shit into the system. Drag those parasites into your system. And there they are, powerless. When you have the evidence against them and you're in a court of law and there's no assumption, presumption, black magic and Black's law and all this fucking trickery, hocus pocus nonsense, they're absolutely powerless. And with all the cases I facilitated, I'm still looking for juries. Juries. There's restitution and there's punishment that needs to be doled out. And the same thing holds true for the hearings that happened here on July 31st, Monday, July 31st. There's no jury. Now, these parasites here in Kalkaska are not well liked. They have been fuckering the people over in Kalkaska for a damn long time. How come the court doesn't have a jury yet? It's fear. People, you need to engage. You're fear-based. You got to get past your fear. Otherwise, why the hell are you even watching this? Why did you follow David Strait? Why did you follow Chris Hauser? Why did you follow Bonds for the Win? Why did you follow the truckers driving to a foreign land? Why do you follow Yusuf or Alphonse? Or the list goes on and on and on. If you don't want your liberty and you don't want your freedom, and you won't stand up. All right, so Americans, this court is yours. Not you should have one in every county seat. As far as I'm concerned, any American, you got a case. All you got to do is bring a jury and a referee and your claims. You prosecute, or you bring a prosecutor. Now, finding a referee See, you're not going to have a judge. You're going to have 12 judges. And what you would think of as a judge, that's a referee. And nobody's got experience as a referee for a common law that's going to make sure that it's fair for both sides. So I'm willing to take that position. You got a case, you want to bring it, you bring the jury, you prosecute. Now, see, you haven't had a land location. You haven't had a building. Now you got a land location. You want to bring in a trailer? Now you want to put a temporary structure? I want to see the Superior Court get moved from 1689 Cool Road to 605 North Birch Street. That's what I want. I want to see that that demonic gold fringe flag removed and burnt, and Title IV flag put in there, and Superior Court of the Kalkaska County signage up, and committees of safety, and then this human trafficking. All right, we're at 36 minutes and 26 seconds and counting. So I'm going to wrap this baby up. There's nobody here, so no questions to answer. All right, everybody, I love you. Why don't you own your authority? Why don't you? You'll like it. I guarantee it. Love you.